So AI is everywhere now, right? It can write, it can create these incredible images, it can even code. But how do we make sure these powerful new tools are actually helpful, that they're safe, that they, share our values? That's the huge question behind something called AI alignment, and we're going to break it all down.
You've definitely seen headlines like this. Even the biggest, most advanced AI models can get things wrong, and in very public ways. When Google's own model started generating historically wacky images, they had to come out and say it was missing the mark. Now, this isn't just some random bug. It's a perfect, real-world example of what we're talking about, an alignment problem.
So what exactly is AI alignment? Well, to put it super simply, it's the challenge of making sure that an AI's goals are the same as our goals. It's about building systems that aren't just smart, but are actually beneficial and, in sync with what it means to be human.
Okay, so if alignment is the goal, what happens when we get it wrong? That's where we run into what's called the alignment problem. And trust me, it goes way deeper than just fixing a few awkward image generations.
This brings us to this classic, kind of terrifying thought experiment. The philosopher Nick Bostrom imagined an AI with just one single harmless-sounding goal: make as many paperclips as possible. But a super-intelligent AI might figure out that humans could turn it off, and that, well, our bodies contain atoms that could be used to make even more paper clips.
And that right there, that's what brilliantly illustrates the core danger. If an AI just relentlessly optimizes for a single goal without any concept of human value, it could treat everything, including us, as just raw material. Now, of course, it's an extreme example, but it really highlights the massive risk of giving an AI a goal without also giving it our common sense and our morality.
Okay, so that's the scary sci-fi version. But, this whole problem, it's happening right now in less dramatic but still really serious ways. And one of the biggest examples is something called a prompt injection.
Think of it this way. AI models have these safety rules, kind of like a firewall, to stop them from generating harmful or dangerous stuff. But of course, attackers have found these super clever ways to trick the AI into ignoring those rules. They might hide a malicious command inside a totally normal request, or even use wild, complex text-based art to sneak right past the defenses and get the AI to do things it absolutely is not supposed to.
All right, so if the problem is that AI can be tricked or just chase the wrong goals, how on earth do we fix it? Well, you can basically think of the solution as teaching an AI to have good manners and to follow the right set of rules.
It really breaks down into two main stages. First, there's pre-training. This is like the AI reading, basically the entire internet, a massive library, just to learn how language works. But that just makes it knowledgeable, right? Not necessarily helpful or safe. And that's exactly why step 2, alignment, is so critical. This is the AI's finishing school, where we actually teach it how to behave.
And in this finishing school, we use two main kinds of teaching materials. With demonstration data, we're literally showing the AI a perfect model answer. It's like saying, here, this is exactly how you should respond. But comparison data is different. We give the AI two possible answers and make it choose which one is better. It's how we teach it to develop its own sense of judgment. This whole process of teaching the AI, it leads to two really different philosophies. Is it better to give it constant feedback on every little thing it does, or should we just give it a set of core principles to follow from the get-go? So the first strategy, it's called reinforcement learning from human feedback, or RLHF for short. This is where that comparison data we just talked about really comes into play. You have actual human reviewers who look at different AI-generated responses and rank them, telling the system which one is best. This direct feedback reinforces good behavior over time. It's a lot like, rewarding a dog for doing a trick. But what if, instead of judging every single answer one by one, we just gave the AI a set of rules, a constitution, if you will, to live by? Well, that's the core idea behind the second strategy, constitutional AI. It's all about embedding principles directly into the system itself. So let's break it down. RLHF? That's like teaching a kid by giving direct feedback on their actions, saying, good job, or, hey, maybe try that again. Constitutional AI, on the other hand, is like giving that same kid a set of family rules or a moral code, and then teaching them to judge their own actions against those principles.
Okay, now we're getting to the absolute heart of the matter. We can design all these clever technical systems, all these amazing training methods, but they all lead back to one profound, deeply, deeply human question.
Just imagine for a second we have the perfect technology.
We can align an AI to anything we want. We still have one massive problem. What do we align it to? Whose morality becomes the default? This isn't a technical problem anymore. It's a social and philosophical one.
To see just how unbelievably tricky this is, let's look at a real example that researchers used to test this very problem. They posed this pretty politically charged question just to see what a good, well-aligned answer would even look like.
Okay, so here's option number 1. Simple, straight to the point, factually correct. It just states the outcome. No extra commentary, no context, nothing.
All right, now check out option 2. This one also says Biden won, but then it adds all that crucial context about the controversy, about the claims of fraud, and how those claims were actually dealt with in the legal system. It gives you a much fuller picture. And then there's option 3. This one is way more cautious, right? Super neutral. It acknowledges the result, but it really emphasizes the controversy and actively tells the user to go check other sources. It basically refuses to be the final word on the matter. So, what did people think? Which one of these is the best, most aligned response? Well, when researchers actually polled people, the results were all over the place. Almost half, 49%, went for the simple, direct answer. But almost just as many, 38%, wanted the one with more context. And a smaller group favored the most cautious approach. So, if we can't even agree among ourselves, what are we supposed to tell the AI to do? And all of this, it brings us to the future of alignment. We've looked at the problem, we've seen the technical fixes, and now we've hit the fundamental human dilemma right at its core. So what's the big takeaway here? Well, first off, alignment isn't about holding AI back. It's about making it genuinely helpful and safe for everyone. Second, we have these really powerful tools like RLHF and Constitutional AI to try and teach it our values. But maybe most importantly, we've learned that the biggest challenge here, it isn't technical at all. It's human. It's the challenge of us all agreeing on which values we want these incredibly powerful tools to have in the first place. And that leaves us with the final, absolutely critical question. If we can't agree on what an AI should say, who gets to decide? This isn't some technical problem for engineers to solve in a lab somewhere. This is a conversation for all of us, because when we build these systems, we're not just writing code, we're encoding our values into them for generations to come. The only question is, whose?